Hey, sisters and brothers, welcome to week 31 of Read Through the Bible in 2 years. We are now in the book of Joshua, and we are in a series of about 5 or 6 chapters from chapter 7 through chapter 12 that for me are some of the hardest chapters to read in the entire Old Testament. You see, God's people are now in the midst of their conquest of the promised land, this land that had been promised to Abraham and Sarah some 700 years ago and promised to their descendants. And now God's people, the Israelites, are in the process of conquering that land. And they have been given the order to basically eliminate all of the tribes of people that live there. That land is not empty, it is full of other tribes worshiping other gods. You have the Canaanites, the Jebusites, the Hivites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and a variety of other tribes. And God has told Joshua that that these tribes need to be eliminated. And it's really difficult not to use the word genocide when we're talking about what is happening here in this book of Joshua. And so, how do we understand this? What's happening with this? What's the reasoning behind this? And whether we agree with the reasoning or not, I believe that the reasoning behind this is that God has this greater plan in mind. That God has this plan to redeem the entire world, to gather the entire world back to himself. But the culmination of that plan is going to be Jesus Christ. And Jesus is part of that descendancy of Abraham. And the fear is that if there are remnants of these tribes that are still there, if there are remnants of the Canaanites and the Jebusites and the Hivites and the Hittites and the Perizzites, that if not now, then in the generations to come, all of this intermarriage will take place and people will fall into idolatry. And that this law of Moses that's been given to them will be so diluted that there won't be a distinct identity of God's people in and through the Israelites. It's a hard few chapters to read. The irony of all of this, however, is that in our New Testament reading, we are entering into some chapters of the Gospel of Mark where Jesus now is beginning ministry outside, almost intentionally beginning ministry outside of the Jews. There's this wonderful story about this Syrophoenician woman who comes and needs help. And Jesus finally heals his daughter. And Jesus then entering into the area of what's called the Decapolis, which is a Gentile area, and Jesus beginning to do signs and wonders there as well. You see, in these Gentile areas, these are the descendants of the remnants of these tribes that God earlier had ordered to be eliminated. But now that Jesus is there, Jesus is part of that key part of that plan to redeem the entire world, to gather all things back to God. Now Jesus has come not just for the Jewish people, not just for the descendants of Abraham and Sarah, but for the other people as well, for us, for the Gentiles. So, folks, these are some difficult readings ahead for this week, but thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you that you have this desire to have a deeper knowledge of Scripture, and that and at the same time have a deeper knowledge of this God who has given us this Scripture. Thank you.